All right, so we're going to continue with solving quadratics. Last time we talked about how to solve a quadratic by factoring, and today we're going to learn how to do this by graphing. So that's our learning target. All right, to get us going here, how many jelly beans are in this bag? I put it on top of my iPad so you have an idea of the size. Okay, so how do I solve quadratics by graphing? Again, really, these are our 5 ways that we will usually use to solve quadratics, and we're kind of focused recently on these first 2. Remember, when we're trying to solve a quadratic, what we're really trying to find is these points right here, where they cross the x-axis, okay? So again, that's what we're trying to find when we solve a quadratic. Now, graphing calculators are extremely powerful. They can do lots of things. They can give us lots of information. So how do we do this on our graphing calculator? Well, here are the steps. You're going to go through, press the y equals button. You'll type in the function into the first line, and then you're going to graph it. And then you should be able to tell, for the most part, what the solutions are from there. And I'll ask you to sketch the graph as well. And then you want to confirm your solutions by using a table, which I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So I have those steps right here as well. So let's try one of these. We're going to solve the quadratic by graphing, and then we're going to sketch the graph to make sure we know how to do that. So the function is x squared minus 6x plus 8. Then we're going to type that into our calculator. So you want to pull up your MCA calculator. I kind of have mine already ready to go. So now in the upper left, you'll see the y equal screen. You want to just press that. And then you get this screen. And in the first line there, y1, you can put a bunch of functions in there. We are just going to use one at a time. We want to type in x squared. So now the x button is right next to the green alpha button. And the squared is right there on the left in the middle of the screen. And then I'm just going to type minus 6x and then plus 8. Okay, so now that I have that in there, this calculator will graph it for you. In the upper right, you can see graph button. So I'm going to press that. Okay, now here, this gives me my graph. Now, where does it look like it crosses the x-axis? So it looks to me like it crosses at 2 and at 4. Okay, so now I want to sketch that. I think it's 2 and it's 4. So I would say, x equals 2, and I think it's x equals 4. Now you can sketch the graph. So if I kind of looks like this. Or you can take a screenshot and paste it in there if you like that a little bit more. Your sketch does not have to be super fancy, okay? Just a quick sketch so it looks relatively close. So let's take a look again. It looks kind of like this. Okay. And I want to confirm that those are actually my 2 roots, because sometimes it looks like they're there, but they're not or 2 solutions. So I'm going to go second graph, and I said 2, so at 2 it should be equal to 0. Notice it is. And then I also said 4, so notice 4, the y value is 0. So my 2 solutions are the x values where y equals 0, so 2 and 4. Okay, so that should be what I want to write down, and I have that written down, and so there we're good. Now that's it. That's all you have to do. Again, notice I pressed second graph on that last step to confirm my solutions to make sure that actually is the solution. So again, if you prefer to copy and paste, write x equals 2, x equals 4, and then take a screenshot and copy it in there, that's easier for you. It looks a little nicer. Sure, go for it. Otherwise, you can just do a quick sketch. Doesn't have to be perfect, but should look relatively close. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Solve the quadratic by graphing again, sketch the graph. So we're going to go back into our function, and this time it's negative x squared minus 8x minus 15. Okay, so I'm going to type that y equals screen. Whoops. Let's just clear that out. The negative button here, notice it's negative x squared. You want to use the negative in front of there. If you do minus x squared, it's going to give you an error. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to write negative x squared minus 8x and then minus 15. Okay, graph. And it looks kind of like this, right? So it looks like -3 and -5. Okay, if you want to check it right away, go to your table. So second graph, -3. So now I'm going to have to scroll up using the up and down arrow keys right here. -5 and -3. Notice they're both 0. Okay, so it is -3 and -5. I can confirm that. I'm going to sketch that graph. Okay. X equals -3 and x equals -5. Again, whatever method you like. Looks kind of like this. Or you can paste it in there if you'd like. Okay, cool. So here's another one. When we do this one, when you type it into the calculator, you're going to get this picture. Okay. Now you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute, where does it cross the x-axis? It doesn't. Okay. And so in this case, you're not going to be able to write your solutions. There are solutions, but they are not real solutions. So we're going to write no real roots or solutions. Okay, there are 2 solutions, but we will learn more about how to find those in pre-calc. So if that happens, you're going to write no real solutions. Okay, and this word is important. So don't just write no solution. There is some solutions. They're just not real solutions. And right now that might not make a ton of sense, but that's okay for right now. Okay. Also, you'll be given some word problems, and you're going to use your graphing calculator to see if you can figure this out with that. It says the height h in feet of a golf ball hit from ground level can be modeled by the function h of t equals -16 t squared plus 80t, where t is the time in seconds after the ball is hit. After how many seconds will the ball hit the ground? Okay, so sometimes you're going to see it in function notation, and you won't see y and x. You'll see this is often a physics thing. It's the height as a function of time. Okay, so that's all that means. Okay, so again, x and y, same thing. In this case, it's x is t and y is the height, h. Okay, so I'm going to type this into my calculator, this function right here, -16 t squared plus 80t. Well, when I do that, I don't have a t, but I'm just going to go -16x, oops, let's clear that out, -16x squared plus 80x, and I'm going to press graph. Okay, now, if I get in a little bit closer with this, it looks like I started at hitting the golf ball at 0 seconds, that's when it went into the air, and it came down and it hit the ground, or is at 0, it looks like at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this time you can check your table to confirm that, but sometimes you won't actually have, it might not actually be exactly 5. So sometimes it might be a decimal. In that case, just give it your best estimate as to how close it is. Okay, so this looks to be, it is 5 seconds. So let's go back. So after how many seconds was the ball in the air, or when will the ball hit the ground? You're going to say 5 seconds. Okay, make sure you put your units on there. That's really important when we're talking about this, but this is 5 seconds, and that's it. Now, if it was like 5.5, you can't really tell. You're just going to estimate as best you can. Okay, so Solving quadratics by graphing is fairly quick and easy using the TI-84 graphing calculator. So why do we need all these other methods like factoring, a couple of ones that we're going to figure out, like quadratic formula, completing the square? Well, there's some drawbacks. First would be if the solutions aren't nice numbers, which most of your answers today will be, then it becomes more challenging to find those answers. Also, we can only find real roots or solutions. Roots is another word for solutions. Real roots. We can only find real ones. If there are different kinds of roots or solutions, then you need some different methods, and we learn more about those in pre-calculus. Okay? All right. That is your assignment right there. Solving quadratics by graphing. Write that into your planner, and then again, when you're done, check it off. All right, hope that makes sense.